Good afternoon, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This is Cool News at Noon. I am Cairo, and we are live on Cool FM and News Radio 93.1, where we share the latest news headlines that care for you. Let's begin with our headlines. We begin with the international news that just came in. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an order to strip back federally funded news organization Voice of America, accusing it of being anti-Trump and radical. A White House statement said the order would ensure taxpayers are no longer on the hook for radical propaganda and included quotes from politicians and right-wing media criticizing the broadcaster. VOA, still primarily a radio service, was set up during World War II to counter Nazi propaganda. It says it currently reaches hundreds of millions of people globally each week. Mike Abramowitz, VOA's director, said he and virtually his entire staff of 1,300 people had been put on paid leave. Abramowitz said the order left VOA unable to carry out its vital mission, especially critical today when America's adversaries like Iran, China, and Russia are sinking billions of dollars into creating false narratives to discredit the United States. The National Press Club, a leading representative group for U.S. journalists, said the order undermines America's long-standing commitment to a free and independent press. It added, if an entire newsroom can be sidelined overnight, what does that say about the state of press freedom? An entire institution is being dismantled piece by piece. This isn't just a staffing decision, it's a fundamental shift that endangers the future of independent journalism at Voice of America. The president's order targets VOA's parent company, U.S. Agency for Global Media, or USAGM, which also funds nonprofit entities such as Radio Free Europe and Radio Free Asia, which were originally set up to counter communism. It tells managers to reduce performance to the minimum presence and function required by law. CBS, the BBC's U.S. news partner, said that VOA's employees were notified in an email by Crystal Thomas, the USAGM Human Resources Director. A source told CBS that all freelancers and international contractors were told there was now no money to pay them. Emails obtained by CBS notified the bosses of Radio Free Asia and Radio Free Europe, or Radio Liberty, that the federal giants had been terminated. VOA and other stations under USAGM say they serve more than 400 million listeners. They are broadly equivalent to the BBC World Service, which is part funded by the British government. The Czech Republic's foreign minister, Jan Lipavsky, said he hoped the European Union could help keep Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty running in Prague. He said he would ask European foreign ministers at a meeting on Monday to find ways to at least partially maintain the broadcaster's operations. Elon Musk, the billionaire and top advisor to Trump who has been overseeing sweeping cuts to the U.S. government, has used his social media platform X to call for VOA to be shut down. The U.S. president also cut funding to several other federal agencies, including those responsible for preventing homelessness and funding museums and libraries. Trump was highly critical of VOA in his first term. He has recently appointed staunch royalist Kari Lake to be a special advisor for the USAGM. The president regularly states that mainstream media outlets are biased against him. He called CNN and MSNBC corrupt during a speech at the Justice Department. And now, as we move over to the rest of the national headlines, to mark the 6th anniversary of the country's withdrawal from the Rome Statute, a human rights group urged President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on Monday to rejoin the International Criminal Court. On March 17, 2018, President Rodrigo Duterte withdrew from the Rome Statute, the treaty that established the ICC. The withdrawal, however, took effect precisely a year later. The Philippines should rejoin the ICC, Karapatan Secretary General Cristina Palabay told the Pardat in a message on X. Palapay also said in a separate statement, Duterte's self-serving decision to withdraw from the Roman statute was an attempt to escape accountability in the face of the ICC's initiation of investigations into the mass killings of drug suspects. Nevertheless, Palapay stressed that the country should still strengthen its justice system. While we seek legal recess in international mechanisms such as the ICC, it is important that we strengthen our ranks to change the system that serves as the bedrock of impunity, she said. Despite Duterte's withdrawal, the ICC retained jurisdiction over alleged crimes in the country from November 1, 2011 to March 16, 2019, or based on the period when the country was still a member. This was the basis of the ICC's arrest warrant against Duterte, who has been detained in The Hague, Netherlands since his arrest on March 11. Duterte's subsequent arrest and transfer to the ICC's custody is a long overdue result of the people's determined struggle for justice and accountability, Palapay said. And former President Rodrigo Duterte, now detained in The Hague, Netherlands, did not deserve the treatment that he was put through, his common-law wife Hanilet Avancena said, as she lamented that the abuse is too much. Avancena tearfully broke her silence after Duterte's pre-trial before the International Criminal Court, which had cited reasonable grounds in issuing an arrest order against him for alleged crimes against humanity he committed during his administration's war on illegal drugs. Avancena said of her partner in an SMNI interview posted on Sunday, as she echoed previous statements in the Duterte camp that the former president was quote-unquote kidnapped. He doesn't deserve this kind of treatment. Avancena said, I don't know how to help him. The abuse is too much. She said in Bisaya, help us Filipinos, help us. Avancena also noted that they only brought clothes and medicine, good for 3 days when they went to Hong Kong. Now that Duterte is gone, Avancena said she could not sleep in her own house. She then noted that while you may find his mouth very full, Duterte's governance style was effective. She once again said in Visaya, he did not become abusive, he did not steal, he remained humble during his presidency. Duterte's partner also said the former president neither used his gun, not even once, nor even stabbed anybody. It is now 12:10 p.m. as we will return with more news headlines right here on koolNews at noon. Stay along with us. We will be right back. Yes, welcome back to Cool News at Noon. It is now 12:21 p.m. and let's continue with our headline. Senator Amy Marcos, a presidential sister, is calling for an urgent Senate investigation into the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Days after Duterte's arrest, Marcos issued a statement saying it is vital to establish whether due process was followed during the former president's arrest, given the involvement of the International Criminal Police Organization and the International Criminal Court. As chairperson of the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, I am calling for an urgent investigation into the arrest of former President Duterte, an issue that has deeply divided the nation, said Marcos in a statement on Monday. Marcos said she would invite key officials of the following agencies in the scheduled public hearing: Philippine National Police, Office for Transportation Security, Department of Transportation, Department of Justice, National Security Council, and Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines. The Senate must address these critical concerns to uphold the country's jurisdiction and to clarify policies with governing our law enforcement agencies and their engagement with international tribunals, said Marcos. Our sovereignty and legal processes must remain paramount, she emphasized. Duterte was arrested on March 11 by the power of an arrest warrant issued by the ICC. The warrant was based on the grounds of crimes against humanity he allegedly committed during his administration when he waged war against illegal drugs. Meanwhile, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. earlier brushed off claims that Duterte's arrest was political persecution. According to the president, the government only complied with Interpol, to which it has a commitment. He also emphasized that his administration did not cooperate with the ICC regarding Duterte's case. The president earlier made a public declaration that his administration will not lift a finger to help the International Tribunal. We are not communicating with the ICC. They have requested many documents from us, but we did not provide anything. However, we cannot refuse Interpol when they ask for our help in apprehending this person, he said that. Though not named in the warrant itself, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, chief enforcer of the deadly drug court that claimed thousands of lives, emerged as a repeatedly cited figure in the International Criminal Court prosecution's urgent application for former President Rodrigo Duterte's arrest. Based on the 54-page document, of which specific details such as the identified co-perpetrators of Duterte were redacted, De La Rosa was cited as the former president's long-term ally and Philippine National Police chief who, as early as 2012, developed Oplan Tokhan, where police knock on the doors of alleged drug users and pushers and ask them to surrender, place them on a drug watch list, and the listed persons were often later killed. The publicly redacted version of the prosecution's urgent application for an arrest warrant of Duterte was dated February 10 and uploaded on March 13. The ICC document frequently mentioned De La Rosa for citing his role as Davao City Police Chief in 2012 when he developed and implemented Tokhan. The document, signed by Deputy Prosecutor Mame Mandiez Ang, read in part, where police Davao Death Squad members were the shooters in the killing operation, they would sometimes stage a nanglaban or fight back scenario in which they would plant a weapon on the victim to make it appear as though the victim had been killed by the police acting in self-defense. Sometimes DDS members planted drugs on the victims to create a justification for the targeting of victims. According to international law expert Rodel Taton, dean of the San Sebastian College Recoletos Graduate School of Law, De La Rosa's role as PNP chief during the drug war may become a subject of the situation under the ICC jurisdiction, similarly with the arrested former President Duterte. So the examination and investigations undertaken may reveal that he is the next candidate to the Hague, Taton told the Inquirer in a Fiber message. ICC assistant to Consul Cristina Conti for reports that the ICC prosecution's repeated citation of De La Rosa in the application for a warrant could indicate that the senator was the next in line as most responsible. Meanwhile, legal experts deemed De La Rosa's March 11 petition asking the Supreme Court to stop the government from further cooperating with the ICC as premature and could even be considered an admission of guilt. Lawyers Ruben Carranza of the International Center for Transitional Justice and Territory of the University of the Philippines College of Law wondered whether De La Rosa even had any legal standing to bring such a petition to the High Tribunal because he has yet to be issued an arrest warrant. Carranza told Inquirer, he's speculating, and in a way, it's almost like an extrajudicial confession of guilt that he's about to be arrested, and he doesn't want the Philippine government to cooperate with the ICC and have him arrested. They also pondered on the petition at a recent UP College of Law forum, noting that the High Court may consider the petition premature. Also in the news, members of progressive Filipino organizations held protest actions in 4 key cities in Canada over the weekend, welcoming the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte and calling for his conviction. In the western city of Vancouver, around 80 protesters joined a rally led by the Bangkok Alianza Magkabayan or Bayan, Migrante, Gabriela, and Anak Bayan near the SkyTrain station at Dorset, Collingwood, a neighborhood heavily populated by Filipino migrants. It is an initial but significant step to find justice for thousands of victims of human rights violations. Duterte is not just responsible for killing suspected drug personalities, but for many others critical of his murderous regime like human rights defenders, lawyers, unionists, students, and leaders of indigenous peoples communities, said Charm Mills of Migrante from British Columbia. And finally, into the international headlines, 5 young volunteers have been deliberately exposed to the COVID-19 virus in the country's or Singapore's first human challenge study, paving the way for more of such studies to be conducted here to strengthen Singapore's disease preparedness and response. Unlike a traditional study where subjects are infected naturally, a human challenge study intentionally exposes volunteers to a virus in a controlled environment so that researchers have a better chance of gaining more precise insights about the infectious agent in less time. This can help accelerate the development of vaccines and therapeutics. The study known as SYNC-CoV is being conducted at the National Center for Infectious Disease. By September or October, the research team aims to recruit for the study a total of 20 healthy people aged 21 to 30 who have already been vaccinated against COVID-19 and follow up with them on 5 occasions for up to a year. While the study will help scientists understand why COVID-19 infections still occur despite previous vaccinations and infections, the authorities' broader aim is to develop the framework and expertise to conduct future human challenge studies. The incoming chief, Professor Vernon Lee, said, the incoming chief executive officer of the Communicable Disease Agency, Professor Vernon Lee, said, "We need to continue strengthening Singapore's preparedness and response to infectious disease, including Disease X." That professor referring to a new public health agency dedicated to managing communicable disease, which will be formed on April 1. He added that the SYNC-CoV human challenge study adds a new instrument in Singapore's toolkit to be very prepared and ready for the next infectious disease challenge and develop the targeted response measures more rapidly. Future human challenge studies will be conducted by CDA, he said. It is now 12:30 p.m. and that is it for koolNews at noon. We will return with more news headlines later with koolNews at 6 and koolNews Primetime at 10:30 p.m. You can also send us your comments, suggestions, and feedback to our email at tvhphilippines.news@gmail.com. Until then, I am Cairo, and this has been koolNews at noon. This is your station. This is home. Cool FM. Good afternoon.